Good afternoon, Professor David Faskett.
Good afternoon.
It's really an honor and a pleasure to have you at IIHM Bangalore. I would like to know what are your first impressions about the colleges that here or about India. Would you like to tell us something?
Yeah, well, first of all, I feel it's my honor to be here. Thank you for having me. I must say that what I've been impressed with is the attention to detail, the customer service, the care that people have shown me since I've been in India, and also, of course, the fine weather. So,
lovely, yes.
But I feel that over the last few days being here, I've learnt so much about customer service, about hospitality, and indeed, India is about hospitality.
Yes, India is definite. Thank you so much for your kind words. And it's a pleasure to get we don't have the British weather, and Bangalore is famous for its good weather. So I would like to, Ron, you've been coming again and again. I would like to bring you into the conversation. You've been coming to India for so long. So would you like to, what kind of, over the years, do you find, what the difference that you find in customer service and students?
The difference is, well, I think in terms of the customer service and the hotels and everything else, it was always good. And that was one of the things that impressed me so much when I first came out here. And when I spoke to people and they were saying, yes, we hope to learn so much from you. And after 2 or 3 visits, I was thinking, no, it's the other way around. What can the UK hospitality industry learn from the Indian hospitality industry? Particularly in detail of the customer service, the presentation, the whole professional approach to looking after the customer. As they say in India, the customer is God, and that is carried through so much.
Yes, we do.
But in terms of the other things, is I've seen the infrastructure of the country with the massive improvements for travel, which will encourage tourism and get more tourists, and that moving around is much easier. The building of all the highways, the new developments in the major cities, Delhi, the new metro, all the buildings from the road from the airport into here, in Bangalore, etc. So it's just showing how fast India as a country is moving forward, and which is necessary to make it truly a tourism destination.
Yes, okay. So Professor, coming back to you, today for the first time you have interacted with IIHM students, and you've had a one-on-one interaction, especially when you met the first years. How different are these students, or what are their expectations when they enter the world of hospitality? What have you found?
Well, first of all, I thought the first years were very attentive, lots of questions. I felt there was a passion there, enthusiasm there. Certainly they are very well focused, and I think all your students are focused. I think they know what they want to do. What I see is a hunger for learning. Yeah?
Wonderful.
Which is very good indeed, and it's a passport. They're looking for a passport to work in hospitality, I think, across the world. And I think the opportunities that you give them here are enormous. And this is what I said to them, they are extremely privileged to be here with the opportunities that you as a college are providing for them. It makes me very envious. I want to start again, because I think it's very, you are very student-centred. You want the best for young people. And what's what I've found here within this whole organisation, that you're very young people focused, and that gives me a lot of pleasure to see what you're doing, because the future of hospitality is in safe hands within your centres.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Now I would like to go to the event for the Young Chef Olympiad, for which we have had the pleasure of having you as the head of the panel of judges. What would you like to tell us in terms of what kind of expectations you came when you landed here in Calcutta, and with the what you actually saw about the participants, or the kind of food they came out with? What would you like to say about that?
I came with an open mind, as always. I didn't come with great expectations, to be honest, because having judged so many competitions in my life, in my 40 years as a judge, but I've been shocked at the standard, the enthusiasm, the sponsorship from industry, which was second to none. You just couldn't get that in the UK at such short notice, to be honest with you. How the industry came together behind you was quite remarkable. And the young people from different parts of the world, how they gelled, how they came together with enthusiasm, with cohesion, was something that the world should see about bringing young people together, sharing their experiences, sharing their culture. Apart from the actual competition, that was wonderful to see on its own. The camaraderie that was there was, to me, quite remarkable. Mm-hmm. And the skills that the students displayed, the young chefs, were equally remarkable in how seriously they took the competition, how dedicated they were, how fired and motivated they were to win, and how they congratulated the winners and all came together without any sour grapes, and it was quite remarkable. I don't think I've ever experienced anything like it, certainly not in the UK, ever.
Thank you.
Yeah.
How did you find our Indian participant lacking in any manner? How do you think she performed when put with students from all across the world?
Well, I think she held her own. I think she was exceptionally good, but you must remember this was a tough competition. It was tight in many aspects. It was over 2 days, but she can actually pat herself on the back and say to herself she did the best, and she was up there with the top. There's no doubt about it. She was up there with the top 3 or 4, but they just had the edge in certain presentation skills and certain technical skills. And certainly the winner had a very high degree of technical skills. Very high degree, yeah.
Okay, wonderful. I'm sure you had an opportunity to interact with the mentors who came along with the participants.
Yes.
I can ask this to Ron or to you. What do you think they felt about the competition or the arrangements or everything put together of the Olympiad, and what was their takeaway?
I think that
Ron, would you like
all
to
the ones that
yeah.
I spoke to, and they were all very, very positive. One of the mentors came to see me and we sat down and talked. And he was saying how well organised everything was from the minute he arrived in India. Mm-hmm. And that the organisation behind the Olympiad, and it wasn't just the competition, but the whole team organising committee had to look after transportation, accommodation, the meals, making sure that everything was available to the mentors and to the students, contestants. The student contestants were all staying at the Indusmart Hotel, but the mentors were in other hotels throughout Calcutta. And he said that, cars were there for us to bring us into the various things. Accommodation was great. We met at the airport. Now, something like that is the unseen part of organising an event of this type. And I think that is where, again, the team have done really, really well, because that's very difficult. If something is going to cause a problem, usually it's that side of the organisation that causes the problem, because we spend so much time focusing on the competition itself, making sure that that's right.
Right.
That was the thing, and a few other of the mentors said that, and some of the participants as well. It was all very, very positive. Doesn't mean to say that we can't learn things from it. It was our very first one, and it came together so quickly. I think David made the point, he was surprised at the quality of the end product and being done in such a short period of time. But the question is, where do we go from here? How do we manage it from here to improve and to do it again, and as Dr. Bose said at the closing ceremony, next year make it bigger and better.
That's right, definitely. All of us have had a learning from this, and where do we take it from here will be another discussion, and that will take us hours and hours and days.
I would like to say that the chef judge from the IIHM, excellent, but I have to pay particular comments on the 2 judges, independent judges of the panel that came from India. I felt they were quite first class in the way they conducted themselves, highly professional in what they did, and should be highly commended. And I've certainly, over my 40 years, I don't think I've ever met two judges so good at their job.
Wonderful. Thank you again. Now, what was really amazing, and I think some of the participants really were for a moment taken aback, is the round that you did about cooking vegetarian. In the next round, in the final round, you asked them to cook vegetarian, and you did not allow them to use even potatoes and onions. What do you think about that? What was the thought behind it, and how do you think the participants handled that challenge?
Well, it was done on purpose. The ingredients were put together on purpose, knowing that it was going to be a very tough call and a tough challenge. I felt that it was need because vegetarianism is growing across the world. There are several governments that are saying we should cut down on animal protein because of carbon emissions, etc., and also diet, health, nutrition with emphasis on too much red meat. Also the amount of animal feed that we have to grow to feed the animals. So there's a big issues around, and I think that governments are looking for more vegetarianism in our diet. There's no question. Nutritionists are as well. I knew it was going to be a tough call, but I think it's the vegetarianism is growing. I eat more vegetarian today than I ever have done before. I'm very conscious of health. It's something the chefs should know. In London, every menu's got vegetarian. In some countries, it's very difficult to get vegetarian. In other countries, there are many vegetarian. I think we have to cater for all customers, all cultures, and I knew it was going to be a test, and it was a test, and some of the countries that are well known for their cuisine struggled with vegetarian, where the Asian countries didn't quite struggle as much as some of the European countries. And I think Europeans have got to learn more about vegetarianism.
Wonderful, wonderful. Ron, is there anything you would like to ask David? Anything in particular about the competition, or about?
I think I just wonder if David has already had any ideas that looking towards on. Would he re-look at the style of the competition, the format? Have you had any chance? Have any thoughts on that, David?
Yeah, I think that we've got to get round a table and look at. It can't be exactly the same next year, whatever. We have to look at perhaps a slightly different format. I think the foundations are there, to be perfectly honest with you. I think you've got to rethink it when it becomes more international, more countries wanting to compete. The Scandinavians were sorry they weren't here. They said they will come again next year. Other countries will want to be part of the world culinary competition. I think we've got to rethink this. I think what this has done for India is, culinary-wise, is put it on the map, the global map. I think it's done a tremendous amount for tourism in India. I think that it says that, to me, that India is a food tourism destination. I don't think it's quite selling itself enough as a food tourism destination, but it's got a richness of culture, a richness of food, which I think it's got to explore more. And we need to look at that when we do the competition again. I think it's going to be tough for some countries because they will all want to participate, and countries will have to have their own inter-country competition for their own representative. Mm-hmm. And I think that is coming, and I expect that's going to be sooner rather than later. Because I know back at home, some colleges will say to me, "Well, why weren't we entered?" And there can only be one entry per country. But that's coming. I think we're going to have knockout competitions in each country.
I agree with David on that. And the other reason why it will have to be reviewed and changed is the pure logistics. And the format for this year with just 15 participants was fine. It was very manageable.
It was something which we could manage.
Yeah.
Yes.
But if, say, for example, the number rises to between 30 and 40 next year, then the logistics of all that then raises a lot of questions as to how you handle it. The format certainly could not be the same. It would have to be looked at. So it's going to take a lot of consideration on that. As saying to Professor Faskett as well, I've already raised it with Dr. Bose, is that as getting feedback, as we've got some verbal feedback, from the mentors and the participants is that one of the other things we need to do very quickly is to design 2 questionnaires, one for mentors and their colleges and one for the participants, to feed back to us. And some of the things that we'll be asking them is there suggestions or recommendations
for the next
time, for the future, etc. And so therefore we need to tackle that, and not just sit ourselves in isolation and linking in with Professor Faskett in making these decisions. These 15 colleges and participants could play a very important role
in promoting,
promoting and determining the format for next year.
For next year.
Yep.
I have one last question for you, Professor Faskett. You mentioned that the kind of support that we got from the industry was exceptional, and something like this might not be possible in the UK. I would also like to highlight the kind of support we've got from the government. The Ministry of Tourism, Government of India supported this competition. In fact, West Bengal government went out and made their buses available and so on and so forth for the competitors. So infrastructure wise, it was quite a bit of help to us. What do you have to say about that? Is it that easy back home to get government support? And what you would like to say to the Indian government, who has helped us promote culinary skills in India?
I laugh because it's almost impossible to get government support in the UK.
Really?
I think that they don't really recognise hospitality as an industry, let alone support it in many ways. I think, you know, the Indian government has got to be commended on what they've done and the vision that they've had in joining with you on this initiative, because, you know, it is a way forward. Tourism and hospitality is a new, unique contributor to the economy.
Absolutely.
In the UK, hospitality and tourism is worth 175 billion to the national economy. It's very important across the world. It's great job opportunities for young people. In terms of social mobility, it provides unique opportunities in social mobility. And I think the Indian government has been highly commended, and I think they could teach a lot of other governments across Europe, and they could certainly teach the British government for sure. Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful. It's been a pleasure talking to you,
It's
Professor
been a pleasure.
Faskett.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
ma'am.
Ron. Thank you.
Pleasure.